How's it going, everybody? ChaoticMeatball here, and welcome back to another FireRed and LeafGreen Legendary Speedrun Challenge. So, we went ahead and did Latios last time, so why not its companion Pokemon, Latias? This one's a bit better in terms of moveset, as instead of having Memento, Latias has Wish as a part of its starting moveset along with Psywave. This means I can survive quite a bit easier, especially when it comes down to getting to struggle range, as that's bound to happen as I'm still stuck with Psywave as my only attacking move until level 20, when Latias gets Dragon Breath. We've also got some great moves in the form of Meatball, Psychic, and Recover for level up moves, but Dragon Claw, Water Pulse, Ice Beam, Thunderbolt, Earthquake, Return, there's a ton of good options I'll be able to take advantage of throughout this run. Anyway, before we get into the run, make sure to destroy that like button, subscribe to the channel, do it, click that little red button so we can get to 100k by the end of this year, and let's get into it. So, I replaced Bulbasaur with Latias since I figured it would be more difficult to take on Charizard by the end of the game instead of either Blastoise or Venusaur. Especially the latter, seeing as it's weak to Psychic-type moves. I also nicknamed her Loopy, probably because I was thinking of 3DS capture cards at the time. I managed to defeat my rival with 5 Psywaves, taking only half damage before getting the parcel, delivering it to Professor Oak, and moving on through the Viridian Forest. I figured that I'd fight 3 trainers here, then test my abilities against the Camper and Brock's gym before attempting Brock himself. The ones with 1 or 2 Pokemon were a piece of cake thanks to Wish being a thing, but trainers with 3 Pokemon ended up just being too much of a pain for my PowerPoints to handle. I'm glad I didn't use the abbreviation there, or else that would have been some bad implications. Either way, I took on Camper Liam with my level 8 Latias, being able to balance my HP with Wish while also not missing a ton of Psywaves, only needing 6 for Geodude and 7 for Sandshrew after a few sand attacks. Not too bad, but Brock won't be wasting any time on sand attacks, so I think I'm ready for him. I actually only needed 4 Psywaves to get past Geodude, landing at full HP after Wish came through, then moved on to Onix. He's got a relatively powerful Rock Tomb that can do a fourth of my HP in a single shot, so I went for Wish, but my first Psywave did nearly half damage, so I only needed 2 more to take it down, winning me the Boulder Badge in really quick fashion. Not gonna lie, I expected for Psywave to put up more of a fight against me, especially since it did with Latios, but I'm glad since Latias might have a chance of beating him in terms of time. With that said though, I grabbed my repels and headed into round 3. I figured I'm still on the hunt for an attacking move not named Psywave, so I decided to take everyone out on this route before going back and forth to the Pokemon Center, which usually happened after almost every other trainer battle since most of these guys had 2 or 3 Pokemon, sometimes 4, and 15 PP just doesn't go far enough because of that. Especially with consistent low rolls of damage and missing a lot, that's a really big pain in the butt. Latias did manage to get to level 14 before I caught a Spearow and headed up towards Mount Moon. I know I'm gonna need to exit this place a lot more than other runs, so I made sure to stock up on as many repels as I could. I decided against escape ropes because Mount Moon is small enough where I can get out with 1 or 2 repels, especially with how many trainers are at the beginning, and there's a single escape rope I can actually pick up in here as well as an ether to ensure when I get deeper into the cave that I'm maximizing my use of money. Other than that, the trainers were no-brainers. I did not intend for that to rhyme, but whatever. Since there wasn't anyone besides the scientist that had a Magnemite, which I made sure to avoid, everything else was a piece of cake to take down since they didn't resist Psychic-type moves. I made my way out to Route 4 at level 18, but I was so close to level 19 that I just fought the Picnicker in Misty's gym, taking out her level 19 Goldeen to level up, letting me use a rare candy and finally have a good attacking move in Dragon Breath. Sure enough, that's plenty enough to thrash through Misty, as Psywave and Dragon Breath are a 2-shot KO, even through Staryu's Recover, which gave me the opportunity to set up a Wish, just in case Starmie decides to be a problem with Confusion. Swift does only 11 damage, and my first Dragon Breath manages to paralyze, so after a few healing shenanigans from Misty, I was able to just spam more Dragon Breath to KO and win the Cascade Badge. I'm only about an hour into the run, so this isn't too bad of a position. But let's see if I can get through the rival relatively easy as well. Unfortunately, it starts rough as Dragon Breath isn't a one-shot on Pidgeotto, letting him land a Sand Attack, so I just went for Psywave to finish it off, leading to Rattata. Dragon Breath manages to land through Accuracy Deprivation, one-shotting and leading to Charmander. Dragon Breath misses as Charmander lands a Metal Claw, but the second lands and one-shots, leaving just Aber to be one-shot after a bit more missing, winning the fight in also relatively quick fashion. Not too bad at all, actually. So I just slapped the TM for Water Pulse over Safeguard after the fight, though I probably should have just done it before the fight for Charmander, but hey, better late than never. And then I ran right through routes 24 and 25, jumping up from level 21 to 24 after facing the minimum amount of trainers possible. I know Latias can be a pretty bulky Pokemon, so I'm not too worried about anything as long as I keep Wish, so fighting the minimal amount of trainers without waiting around for spinners is by far the best choice in my opinion. After grabbing the SS ticket from Bill, running through the Rocket Grunt that gives me Dig and Route 6, it's Vermilion City time. As we always do, getting Farfetch'd as an in-game trade to use both Cut and Fly on one Pokemon is good to conserve time for the Hall of Fame, as well as only having to catch one Pokemon rather than two for HM usage, since the trade takes less time than a second catch for something like a Rattata. The bike voucher's also here, but honestly the only reason I picked this up is to get through Cycling Road. Like, the bike is just stupidly difficult to control compared to using the running shoes, and they're basically the same speed, so what's the point of using the bike when you're just gonna bonk into every wall imaginable? Keep that in mind next time you're playing FireRed and LeafGreen. Anyway, it's SSN time, and that means we've got Rival 3 in the way. Pidgeotto, the accuracy-deprecating big brain bird of stupidity, actually gets me to reset once out of frustration with Sand Attack, but sure enough, the second attempt had another Sand Attack shot. I'm at least able to land Water Pulse and Dragon Breath to KO after a quick attack, but honestly the battle doesn't seem to be affected all that much afterwards. Raticate comes out and gets slapped by a critical Dragon Breath so it dies, going down immediately and leading into Kadabra, but here I miss Dragon Breath. Though what is Confusion even gonna do to me? Absolutely nothing, that's what, but Dragon Breath's able to KO next round, leaving just Charmeleon. Dragon Breath is able to land on the first attempt, paralyzing but not preventing him from landing a Metal Claw, though I'm still able to land Psywave to KO and win the bout, getting the HM for Cut afterwards. Alright, it's time to test our luck against Lieutenant Surge. I went in with no held items since I don't think paralysis will be a problem. He leads with Voltorb, no problem there as a single Dragon Breath KOs, as does with Pikachu as well, and shockingly, no pun intended, I got a crit on Raichu with Dragon Breath, one-shotting and winning the match with literally no damage and no attacks even coming towards my way. I'll take it, it's a perfect fight. Skipping ahead a bit, since there's not much of a struggle, I arrived in Lavender Town at level 31, grabbing the TM for return and heading straight over to Celadon City. I actually need to get the T immediately though. Since I've been going in here, I really need a real Psychic type move that'll be able to do super effective damage against Erica's Pokemon. And sure enough, I can head on over to Saffron City and grab the TM for Psychic, teaching it to Latias immediately and jumping back over to Celadon's gym. Sure enough, Victory Bell, Tangela, and Vileplume are all one-shots as I outsped all of them, receiving the Rainbow Dash for my minuscule effort. Fortunately, the Psychic typing is super helpful for the Rocket hideout as well, and especially for Giovanni, as his Kangaskhan goes down to Water Pulse, and 2 Psychics is all that's needed to take out Kangaskhan, a really bulky Pokemon for this point in the game, and 1 Water Pulse for Rhyhorn seals the deal. Despite Kangaskhan being super tanky, I'm actually seriously super surprised that Psychic was a 2-shot. I thought it was going to be a probably 3-shot because we were on relatively similar levels, but that just gives me the confidence that everything from here should be a pretty big breeze. But I should test that theory on the 4th rival fight. He leads with Pidgeotto, so after hitting a small quick attack, Psychic one-shots and leads to Gyarados, barely not KOing as Thrash does barely anything as I take it out with Water Pulse just to rub in the fact that I'm more powerful than his entire team, leading to Kadabra. I taught Return to Latias earlier just for this, KOing in one shot and leading to Charmeleon. It's an easy one-shot with Water Pulse, leveling up to level 35 and attempting to learn Mistball. It's a weaker version of Psychic though, with less power points, so I just ignored it since I already used the TM. Afterwards, I took out my rival's Execute with Return to finish the job, and the fight in... Yeah, that was pretty much a sweep. Good stuff. But with that, I'm getting closer and closer to the ultimate power. That ultimate power, you may ask? Calm Mind. The TM that Sabrina gives us boosts both Dragon Breath and Psychic, so using that on every boss and sweeping will be my strategy once I get to that point, instead of trying to level up on some other trainers, but we probably wouldn't have to do that anyway. Not to mention, there's a TM in Victory Road for Dragon Claw, making it even more viable once we get to the League, but I'll talk about that later. Instead of going for the sensible option though and going straight for Koga since we have a really powerful super effective attack, I decided to say screw it and attempt to take care of the Silph Company, going against my rival at level 37 with a held citrus berry for some added padding. He leads with a Pidgeot of the same level, so I went for Dragon Breath, barely doing under half as he outsped, wing attacking me as I followed up with Psychic for the KO, leading to Gyarados. Intimidate triggers, making return a bit less useful, but Psychic and Dragon Breath are a combined 3-shot KO, leaving me with a wee bit over half HP, but I just couldn't get past Charizard. It was kind of dumb to try and come in here at such a low level with only one Pokemon, but because I'm stubborn, my next attempt actually ended up working out, as Pidgeot went the same, but Gyarados went for Leer instead of attacking once, giving me more HP to go into Charizard. Not to mention I paralyzed with Dragon Breath, nullifying the 2 scary faces he decided to use, not getting touched at all before Execute came out. This thing's pretty annoying though thanks to Gyarados' Intimidate, because Return barely does anything as he uses Confusion, so I swapped over to Dragon Breath, barely missing the KO as he puts Latias to sleep for a few turns. I got down to about 44 HP before waking up, finally finishing it off with Dragon Breath before Alakazam comes out. It's his last Pokemon and doesn't have a single attack outside of Future Sight, so a few returns is plenty enough to take him down, winning me the fight at a lower level than his ace, and only 2 attempts no less. That's really neat. But you know what else is neat? Kicking in Giovanni's bum into next week. He leads with Nidorino, an easy one-shot with Psychic, though Nidoqueen is able to absorb one, for some reason going for Double Kick before I mercifully take it out with Water Pulse, leading to Kangaskhan. 2 Psychics is enough to barely not take it down, allowing him to stack up some damage and for some reason use a Tail Whip before I finish it with Dragon Breath, leaving just Rhyhorn to get KO'd by Water Pulse, clearing out Team Rocket for the remainder of the run. Gym Leader Barrage time, and I decided to go for Sabrina before Koga this time, since I'm dying to get Calm Mind and keep Latias' level relatively low, so I go in at level 39, taking out her Kadabra with 1 Return and Venomoth with Psychic leading to Mr. Mime. I figured Return would do a lot, and sure enough it does around 2/3, so Barrier is actually a pointless move for Mr. Mime to use here, as I'm able to use another Return for the last third of its HP, leaving just Alakazam. I'm 3 levels lower, but as a legendary with a decent physical prowess, I'm able to come on up top with 2 uses of Return, as she only uses Future Sight, giving me access to Calm Mind and the Marsh Badge. That move is likely going to come in handy, though I'm not sure I'll actually need it for Koga, so I held off on it, passing through Cycling Road and grabbing the PP Up, Max Elixir, and Rare Candy before heading onward into Fuchsia City, the home of our favorite weak poison user type guy, man, Koga. I can't keep a script to save my life. I'm still underleveled compared to his ace, but Psychic is still a one-shot on his first coughing, leading to Muck. It's barely not a one-shot, so he uses Acid Armor for some reason instead of attacking, healing afterwards as I follow up with a Dragon Breath and Psychic for the KO, leveling up and leading into the second coughing. Second verse, same as the first, it goes down to Psychic, leaving just Wheezing. I'm really fortunate here to get a critical Psychic, or else things could have ended up relatively poorly with him using Self-Destruct, though I technically would have won because I had my TM and HM users in the party, but I would have had to reset because I technically didn't complete the battle with Latias. It would have gotten convoluted, but then again I would have probably just swept him with Calm Mind if that happened anyway. I guess it also saved a couple of seconds, but if I were trying to save seconds, I'd be running this game at normal speed and nitpicking optimizations in order to do these runs as humanly fast as possible. But I digress. I grabbed Surf and Strength before getting the free rare candy in the Warden's house, flying back to Pallet Town to make my way down to Cinnabar, getting yet another free candy from the Pokemon Mansion. And now it's time for Blaine, and surprisingly, he's not that big of a problem, as I won on my first try. He leads with Growlithe, nothing crazy to handle his Psychic one-shots leading to Arcanine. I was kind of hoping he was going to go for Ponyta next, but he's already going into the big guns. But 2 Psychics is enough to take him down, leading into Ponyta, an easy one-shot with Psychic. This puts me in a fantastic situation though, as Latias levels up to level 45, learning Recover. So I delete Water Pulse as I've ran out of power points, getting my third of 4 moves to finish our moveset, giving me the perfect move to use twice against Blaine's Rapidash before using Dragon Breath and Paralyzing, locking him into using a full heal on the next turn and winning the battle with a second Dragon Breath. Nice, just 1 more gym leader to go, and I still haven't yet to use Calm Mind, though I may or may not bust it out over return. You'll have to find out in about 5 seconds, since I did not. Psychic is plenty strong enough, though I am dumb and forget to heal, only having 2 uses of the move, so consider this a fun handicap challenge. I opted to KO Rhyhorn with my first Psychic, leading into Dugtrio. Dragon Breath is unable to one-shot, but due to him not being able to do much damage, it's not a big deal as I follow up with 2 more after he heals, leading to Nidoqueen. I one-shot it with my last Psychic, leaving Nidoking to come out next, and it can be a problem at this point. But Dragon Breath absolutely does great work here, fortunately paralyzing him, only letting him get off a single Thrash before I'm able to finish him with a second Dragon Breath, leaving just his second Rhyhorn. Again, why does he not have a Rhydon? It's no matter, as Dragon Breath barely doesn't one-shot, letting him waste a turn with a Scary Face, leaving him to heal next turn as I use another Dragon Breath, paralyzing, and yet again locking a gym leader into using a full heal to finish off the fight. I seem to be doing that with a lot of battles lately. I did it in the Blue Kaizo Fire Challenge, and in this one, so that's kind of a neat coincidence. Alright, it's time for the last 6 battles, bookended by our fantastic rival of H. Yeah, I'm running out of ideas, guys. But I guess you could call him Single H. Remind me to stick to the challenges and not to the jokes. He leads with Pidgeot, so I went for Psychic, doing a bit over half before tanking a Wing Attack, doing around 20% damage before I finished it off with another, leading to Gyarados. I slapped another Psychic into it, barely doing under half this time, so I went for Return to get it under half as he got a critical with Hydro Pump. So I used my first Recover to make up for it, getting hit with a Twister for minimal super effective damage before finishing him off with Psychic. 2 down, 4 to go, but it is time for Charizard. He's pretty irritating since I'm 6 levels below him, so Dragon Breath does only around a 4th as he hits Scary Face. So I went for Psychic to do half of his remaining HP, and went ahead and shifted to Recover, using it 3 times before using another Psychic, taking down Charizard and leading to Rhyhorn. I was unfortunately burned by a flamethrower during that process, but I'm able to take a few takedowns from Rhyhorn, getting a Psychic to KO and lead to Execute. Dragon Breath is really my only good move for this thing, so I shot one off, paralyzing as he begins charging a Solar Beam. I figured now would be a good time to use Recover again, since Solar Beam is not very effective, so I take it out with Return at almost full HP, going into Alakazam. I predicted the disable, so I swapped over to Dragon Breath, luckily paralyzing after the second Dragon Breath as he used Calm Mind, letting me finish it off after Disable wears off with one more turn, winning the last major fight before the league. Still haven't had to use Calm Mind, though I have a feeling that I'll 100% need to use that move for the league, either at the league or even to make Victory Road easier. I do actually grab both the TM for Dragon Claw and the Rare Candy in order to have the most advantage going into the league, rather than just grabbing the Rare Candy like I normally do. And sure enough, after exiting at level 49, I had enough money to grab the TM for Thunderbolt over at the game corner. And with all my rare candies used, Latias is level 57, with the moveset of Psychic, Dragon Breath, Thunderbolt, and Calm Mind. At this point, I figured Recover is a cheap way out if I already have Calm Mind, so coverage it is, and I want to keep Dragon Breath until Lance, since even though I'm sacrificing a bit of power, I'd rather have the chance of paralysis in the very rare case I may need it. I made sure to give Latias a Chesto Berry as well before going into the fight with Lorelei, since I'm weary of Jinx and whether or not I'll be able to KO, even after a few Calm Minds. She leads with Dugong, so I started by setting up Calm Mind number 1 as she sets up Hail, so I go ahead and use Thunderbolt, KOing with one shot and leading to Lapras. Thunderbolt gets a critical here and takes out Lapras, with Lorelei sending out Slowbro third, going down just as well to a regular Thunderbolt, leading to Jinx. This is the most threatening thing on her team because I know it's specially defensive, and sure enough, one Calm Mind only makes Thunderbolt do slightly over half. So, she lands a lovely kiss, putting me to sleep, essentially making her waste a turn as my Chesto Berry wakes up Latias, letting me KO with a second Thunderbolt, leaving just Cloyster to fall to the same fate, winning me the fight in short order. Alright, that's essentially all I expected from that fight, though if I didn't get the critical on Lapras, I was probably bound to a loss, then a reset and 2 Calm Minds rather than just 1, but I will take what I'm given. Second up is Bruno, leading with Onix, so I went for Calm Mind, getting hit with a single Rock Tomb before running through his entire team with Psychic, one by one, all falling until Machamp, who doesn't survive either. Surprising, because I thought that Machamp would live on red HP, and that I'd need 2 Calm Minds to take it out, but again, I will take what I'm given. In preparation for Agatha though, I gave Latias a person berry before the fight, since I'm afraid of confusion against her first Gengar as I set up Calm Minds. I went into the battle and set up Calm Mind number 1 as she goes for double team, but I'm not letting her getting anything like that up. Since our whole team is poison type, I should be able to just KO with Psychic after Psychic like I did with Bruno. And sure enough, yeah, Psychic is able to KO everything in one shot, taking out Gengar, Golbat, Arbok, Gengar number 2, and Haunter, leaving just 2 more fights. There's really not anything else to explain about these fights, and I'm honestly thinking I probably didn't even need to use my rare candies. But what I do need to use is my Dragon Claw TM, overriding Dragon Breath since I think I'll need it for Dragonite. He leads with Gyarados, so I just set up 2 Calm Minds this time, taking a bite and Dragon Rage that does about a third of Latias' HP, letting me take it down with Thunderbolt. Both Dragonairs come out second and third, which Dragon Claw is able to tear through easily. Same with Dragonite, leaving just Aerodactyl to outspeed Latias, hitting an Ancient Power, but it doesn't do enough. So I finish it off with Thunderbolt, getting to level 60, and healing between battles to prepare for the last fight. Single H here is ready to spit out some water and hit me with a pedigree, but I think I'm gonna go ahead and counter him with some good old calming of the minds. Pidgeot is no threat against me since my physical attack doesn't matter, so I just set up a Calm Mind in the face of an Aerial Ace, KOing with a single Thunderbolt afterwards and leading to Gyarados. I know this thing can't touch me as well, so another Calm Mind and a minuscule Bite is in order before I use Thunderbolt again to KO Gyarados, leading to his level 63 Charizard, which also goes down to a single Thunderbolt. Perfect! Alakazam at least gets some different treatment with Dragon Claw, as does Rhydon with Psychic, leaving just Exeggutor taking one final Dragon Claw to finish the run at level 61, and with a time of 3 hours and 55 minutes. Just slightly ahead of Latios, but not too much better. I think the fact that Latias was a bit more defensively viable definitely helped in some parts of the run, such as when I decided to be stubborn and take on the Silph Company earlier than I really should have. Though Recover essentially just made the run really easy post level 45. Calm Mind is also just a broken move for a single player challenge like this. Any Pokemon that can get it is practically guaranteed to be an easy sweeper if you can set up the majority of them on a special attacker. And that's why in the champion fight I made sure to use just a single Calm Mind and Pidgeot, since I didn't want to risk a critical with Aerial Ace, or even worse, a Sand Attack just making the whole battle a pain in the bum, and a war of attrition to see if I could hit the right chances to land attacks. But that's all behind us now. Next time on the FireRed LeafGreen Legendary Speedrun Series, we'll be getting into the Reggie Trio. Which one, you may ask? Well, we're going reverse Pokedex order, so it should be easy to research. See you guys next time. If you guys enjoyed this video, make sure to like, comment, subscribe, click the bell, tell a friend, and don't spend more than a minute doing that, since if you are, you're taking too long. I really appreciate you taking the time out of your day to watch this though, and I'll see you guys next time with another challenge. Stay safe, stay healthy, and I'll see you next time.